Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I wanted to tell all of you that I do all of my videos in English and Spanish, and also that the degree theory uses Western modern astrology and the Placidus house system so that no one gets confused. I'm also going to try something new because I wanted to try to teach you guys basic astrology. And one of the ways that, because to me, the hardest thing to teach is the aspects. So if you go back to even the old videos that I do on a monthly basis, talking about what aspects are coming in for the month, you will start to understand or at least start hearing what effects each planet have on each other. So that's also, I just wanted to mention that for those of you that are interested in learning astrology, that's one of the things that you could do. So now I'm going to discuss the exact square that's going to happen with Jupiter and Saturn on August 19th at the 17th degree, which is the degree of Leo. And then it also comes exact again, December 24th, 25th at 14 degrees. So that you all have an idea. If you have any planets in the mutable signs, if you saw my first video on just basic astrology, lesson number 1, then you will see that it's house 3, house 6, house 9, and house 12. Signs, you have Gemini, you have Virgo, you have Sagittarius, and Pisces. Those are the mutable signs. So these are the signs that are going to be um, having the most impact from the square. Why? Because it's happening in Gemini and Pisces, which are two mutable signs. Now, if you have any planets close to the 17th degree or the 14th degree, and when I say close, I mean with plus or minus 3 degrees. With Saturn, you can even go up to 5 degrees, but I like to keep it tight. So that means that, if you have Venus or Jupiter in Gemini, in Pisces, in Virgo, or Sagittarius, or any of the other planets, then these degrees will be affected the most. All right. So plus or minus 3 degrees, August 19th is 17 degrees. December 24th, 25, it'll be 14 degrees. So I wanted to share my screen so we can start. And then you guys tell me if you think that this is a good way for me to teach you guys. A good visual, in other words, right? So this is a typical chart for an Aries rising. And when I mean, or when I say Aries rising, it's when the sun was rising, Aries was the sign, okay? So ascendant, rising sign is the same thing. And then if you have Aries rising, then Aries is in your first house, all right? So for Aries rising, Jupiter is in the third and Saturn is in the 12th. And this red line is the square. So you can see that it's a square, right? So what this means is that when Saturn is in the 12th house, Saturn, just as a reminder, is the planet of constraints, obligations, responsibilities, delays, because Saturn rules time. Jupiter is the planet of opportunity, expansion, growth, learning as well. So when Saturn is in your 12th house, it can affect your sleep, your rest time. Okay. Now, when Jupiter is spending time in your third house, well, this is all about community, siblings, your extended family, uncles, aunts, cousins, your neighbors, learning, taking short trips, and the learning is usually online. Now, with this square, a square is a challenge. And Saturn is the planet of restrictions. So maybe, oh, third house is also communications. Anything that you do with, writing, speaking, um, cars, transportation, your car, your computer, your cell phone, all of that is ruled by third house. So Saturn may restrict communications. Um, your car may break down, hopefully not, but that's something that can happen, right? Maybe you want to be socializing, but then you need to take care of somebody older in a 12th house institution, a hospital, a nursing facility, a skilled nursing facility. So that's the challenge. You want to go and spend time with your friends, your family, your extended family, go on a short trip, but you can't because you're taking care of somebody as a possible scenario, right? So Saturn in the 12th, you want some alone time. Jupiter in the third, you want to be out there socializing. And here is the conflict, the challenge. And if you're learning something, maybe a new language or a new computer program, maybe you're learning Excel or Word or, um, Outlook programs or some kind of computer program, you're keeping it a secret. Saturn in the 12th house, because the 12th house is everything that we do behind the scenes. So I hope that this is clear on how Saturn with a square to Jupiter will affect Aries rising. Taurus rising. For Taurus rising here, Taurus, you have Jupiter in the second house and you have Saturn in the 11th house. So here we go. Jupiter in the second. Maybe you get a raise because the second house is the money that we make from the job that we do. It also has to do with your values, what you consider valuable, um, also what you eat. The second house is also what you eat. So be careful with eating too much, right? Because Jupiter expands. You do have the potential, like I said, to get a raise, maybe to get a second income, a second job, a part-time job, an opportunity, because again, Jupiter brings opportunities. All right, so then Saturn is in your 11th house. 11th house rules friends, your social circles, political parties, right? So you may be a friend can ask you for a loan, right? Can ask you for money. I would not give them a large sum of money. I mean, if your friend is in a very tight spot, you can lend them a little bit because there will be a delay in getting repaid. Saturn rules time. Saturn rules delays, restrictions, problems. So having Saturn in the 11th house, you also have to take a good look at who your friends are, who your social circle is in, right? Who drains you? Time, it's not just money, it's also your time, your energy. Eh, Saturn is going to put constraints on your social circle. So it can be, believe it or not, a financially beneficial time in the sense that maybe an older friend can provide some kind of opportunity, but it's a challenge for you to take that up. Maybe friends are the ones that are gonna recommend you for a part-time or something to that effect. But the challenge comes in is that you want to socialize, but Saturn is there. So it's either making more money. The challenge is going to come in between making more money because Jupiter is going to bring all those opportunities, but your friends are like, hey, we haven't seen you around. So, you know, um, Try to balance those two things out. That's where the challenge is going to be. Now, Jupiter in the second house also means not only that money's coming in, but money is going out as well. So be careful with spending too much. And again, you can use your social connections to make money. Um, for people who own their own business, 10th house, and this is using the derivative house system. So the second house from your 10th house, the way you make money from your career or your business, Saturn is there. So you're putting in long hours. You're putting in a lot of time, hard work. Just remember that when Saturn leaves, when the transit is over in your 11th house, Saturn always leaves a reward if you have done the right thing. You know, you've been honest, you've been hardworking, you've put in the time. Saturn leaves you a gift. So, Gemini rising. For Gemini rising, you know, like I said in my other video, you have Jupiter in the first house. So, be careful with eating too much, believe it or not, because with Jupiter in the first house, you can gain weight very easily. So the remedy for that is to wear a pendant with a horse on it. It doesn't have to be gold, it could be silver, it could be whatever, but just use a pendant with a horse, or maybe like a bracelet with a little horse, or something like that, that, you know, that's one of the remedies Nicola would suggest. So, Geminis, you have all these opportunities coming at you to travel mostly, even foreign travel. Not for any other sign, but Jupiter. I mean, for Gemini, because Jupiter is in Gemini's first house. But then you have work. Saturn is in the 10th house. So Saturn brings a lot of responsibility at work, you know, the long hours. Maybe you take on greater responsibility at work. Now, once Saturn leaves your 10th house, maybe your reward will be getting a promotion. Um, Also, since Saturn is in the 10th house and the 10th house rules people of authority, you know, your career. Also, it's a parenting house, so you know your parents, people of authority, your boss, your parents, your managers may demand a lot from you. So this causes delays in trying to get all these opportunities that are coming at you. So who are the people that will be mostly affected by this square are any Gemini risings from 7 degrees to 21 degrees from July through October of this year. Those are the people that are going to take this square head on. Okay. Now, when Jupiter goes retrograde, from October 9th, then it'll be 21 degrees of from 11 to 26 degrees of Gemini. It'll be from February 2025 through May of 2025. So, all right, so when Jupiter goes retrograde, it will go retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini. So all these people that I just mentioned from 7 degrees to 21 degrees are going to get a double whammy. And then Jupiter will turn direct. And then for next year, this square is going to be affecting most Gemini ascendants from 11 degrees to 26 degrees. Again, the dates are February 2025 through May of 2025. So, as a note, when Saturn crosses into a Saturn is going to cross into Aries, then we're still going to have this square because then Jupiter is going to be in Cancer. So this is going to continue for a while, but that will be another video, right? When we have Saturn in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. So for Cancer rising people, you have Saturn in the ninth and Jupiter in the 12th. Saturn in the ninth. Do you want to go back to school? Are you thinking about the philosophy of life? Reevaluating your beliefs, what you want to study, things of that nature. With Jupiter in the 12th house, Jupiter is very good here because it's the traditional ruler of the 12th house. So do you need to see a therapist, a spiritual advisor, um, any fears that you have, like in your subconscious? Again, 12th house is stuff that is not is behind the scenes, right? You can take up yoga, meditation, spiritual studies. Jupiter is a great time to be learning stuff in the 12th house, especially for spiritual stuff. So the challenge comes in when you want to study. Maybe again, there's stuff happening in the 12th house, some fears that you may have, something that you want to overcome. So seek a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. This is a great opportunity because maybe you're double thinking everything that you've been taught. And now that you're older, you're analyzing it and saying, wow, maybe I should study a little bit more philosophy. Um, you're just reviewing your foundations. So if you need help with this challenge, seek a therapist or mentor or someone that is a teacher. For Leo rising, for Leo, you have Saturn in the 8th and you have Jupiter in the 11th. So when anybody has Saturn in the 8th, it's not a good time to borrow money because usually it takes a long time to pay off that debt. Um, so maybe you're revisiting with Saturn in the 8th, you're revisiting your investments, your taxes. Maybe there's an inheritance that's coming your way because of a death of an older person. In your environment, it doesn't mean that you're going to die. It just you're revisiting everything that's financial, maybe your partner's debts, your partner's income, or resources. So you're revisiting the debts. Maybe there could be a delay with an inheritance, like I said, but you have Jupiter in the 11th. And Jupiter in the 11th is you're going to have more friends, new ones. Your social circle grows. Um, Friends can bring opportunities to you. So take your time in reviewing the opportunities. Make sure that you read contracts very carefully because it's a square to Saturn. So take your time in reading proposals in, the dotted line, right? For if you want to buy a house and you're taking on a loan, make sure that you read through the whole document. You're aware of the interest rates, etc. Okay. And that goes for anything that because eighth house is money that you get all at once, right? So just be mindful of that. All right, so we have Virgo rising. Virgo, Saturn is in the 7th house and Jupiter is in the 10th house. Okay, so for Virgo rising, when you have Saturn opposing your first house, this is very challenging. So be mindful of your health as well, because it affects the first house, but especially for marriage. If you are married or with a long-term partner, love or business, um, if the relationship is not based on honesty and all those good values, because remember, Saturn is the taskmaster. He wants you to do everything above board. So if your marriage is not doing well, then this is a time that you will file for divorce. Okay. Or if it's a business association, it will dissolve. So I don't recommend getting married when Saturn is in the seventh, because even though Saturn is exalted in Libra because it's a commitment, right, in marriage, but Saturn brings sorrows as well. So I don't recommend people getting married when Saturn is in their seventh house. Now, Jupiter is in the 10th house. So you have a lot of career opportunities, promotions, recognitions. This is an indication of a status change also. So, some people are going to get married, but, I don't necessarily recommend it if Saturn is in your seventh house. Because it can be challenging, right? The 10th to the 7th. Maybe it's because your partner is complaining about your work. You want to get this promotion, so you're putting in a lot of time, or your spouse is not cooperating with your work schedule. So for Virgo, like I said, when Saturn opposes your first house, make sure that you go see, and this also goes for anybody that has a sun, moon, and rising in Virgo. Make sure that you go see your primary care physician, get your annual checkup. It could be sometimes a very depressing time because you have Saturn opposing, limiting all this in you. Okay. All right. So Libra, Libra rising. For Libra, Jupiter is in the ninth and Saturn is in the sixth. So Libra, you could have Saturn bringing on a lot more responsibilities at work, longer hours. Your job can become, if it's, could become very boring. You know, you could be working a lot of overtime. Also, Saturn in the sixth, you need to be careful with your health. Maybe something comes up. This is another sign. This is another rising sign that needs to go see their primary care physician, because when Saturn comes up in the sixth house, maybe your blood pressure, something with your health. It doesn't necessarily have to be the blood pressure, but whatever issues, um, diabetes or something like that can come up. Just make sure you get your checkup. And if something needs to be addressed, then do so. It could also be that Saturn is going to tell you, hey, you need to come up with a new routine, a daily routine for exercise, for diet. You need to structure your work better, get organized, make a to-do list at work so that you have order, that you are effective. Okay, this is all Saturn. Now, Jupiter in the ninth, you want to go traveling long distance. You want to share your knowledge with people, because this is ninth house is taking a course in a university, or for some kind of license. It's a higher level course. But work can interfere. If you're putting all this time at work, then you don't have the time to go traveling or to go studying, which is Jupiter, right? Scorpio. So for Scorpio risings, you have Jupiter in the eighth and you have Saturn in the fifth. So Saturn in the fifth can bring, on a positive note, it can bring a serious boyfriend, girlfriend into your life, if you're looking for love, okay? Otherwise, it would be a great time to go on vacation to the mountains or skiing because Saturn rules mountains and Saturn rules skiing. Um, so that could be a positive way to use this Saturn. Now, perhaps there's a hobby that you need to dedicate more time, Saturn, um, and maybe you can make it a business because it's the square to the eighth house. Remember that with Saturn in the fifth, you need to make an effort to have fun because the fifth house also rules funds, it rules your kids, creative projects, vacations. So make a mental note not to get bogged down with all these responsibilities and have, make a little bit of time to enjoy. Now, with Jupiter in the eighth house, your partner may get more money. The investments might be going up, um, or are growing, but so will your taxes. So this is, Jupiter in the eighth. Maybe you can also get an insurance payout or child support, right? Because it's squaring the fifth house, but there will be delays in getting inheritance, commissions, um, money that you get in lump sums, okay? There may be delays because there's a square to Saturn. All right, Sagittarius rising. For Sag, Saturn is in the fourth and Jupiter is in the seventh. So with Sag, when Saturn is in the fourth, maybe you're settling down. Maybe you are buying a home. Or you're moving in with a long-term partner. You're putting down roots. In other words, right? This can also be taking care of a parent, of an aging parent, or a parent may get sick. All right. And then the conflict comes in with your spouse or with your long-term partner. With Jupiter in the seventh house, this is one of those transits that brings in a potential for a marriage partner. So maybe a lot of Sages will be meeting somebody that they could actually settle down with. In love or business, remember it's long-term relationships. But there can be a delay to a legal case, maybe, or maybe, the closing of the house gets delayed. Or maybe your spouse is putting an objection to all of the duties that you're doing for your family or for your parent. Like, you're spending too much time taking care of your mom or your dad. So that's something that you need to try to balance out. But the roots are very important, and so is your partner. So that's where the challenge comes in, a square. Now, for Capricorn rising, for Capricorn, you have Saturn in the third house and you have Jupiter in the sixth house. With Saturn in the third house rules your siblings, extended family. It also rules your thoughts, your mind, the way you communicate, what you write. Um, your car, your cell phone, your computer, your short trips, right? But there can be delays as simple as, you get hit with a lot of traffic as maybe in your neighborhood, they're doing some kind of construction and then you find more delays traveling, right? Your thoughts can become pessimistic. You can be sad, more often. So you need to be careful with that. Maybe you have issues with your car. You have an old car and you need, you know, you need to repair it or it causes delays. Now, with communication, be careful because Saturn can make you a little bit too bossy. So, especially like with your siblings, your family, your neighborhood, etc. Now, Jupiter in the sixth house. So you are really busy, or you will get really busy. because it expands all of your duties, all of your daily routines. Um, it's a great time to start a new health regimen, diet, exercise. Um, you can even decide to get a new pet, get a dog and take it for a walk. A new coworker may come into the area, or if you have your own business, you may be hiring somebody. So delays can come in with paperwork, third house, right? Maybe, um, I don't know, the person needs some kind of visa to work, or, you got to get them I-9, background checks or something like that can be delayed. Things of that nature, or there may be agreements with extended family that they want you to review, something like that, that can cause a delay in all of, and then your daily routine, you'll have a lot more to do in your daily routine than you can possibly handle. So there goes the square between third house and sixth house. Maybe you're helping out a cousin or an aunt or an uncle, and yet you need to, figure out work, right? You might get extra work because Jupiter's in the sixth. So Aquarius rising. For Aquarius rising, this is a nice, even though it's it's a square, but the opportunity is there, right? Opportunities in fifth house. So this is great for romance, for kids, vacations. Um, but with Saturn in the second house, you may not have enough money to do all the things that you want to do in the fifth house. And dating is expensive, vacations are expensive, kids are expensive. Boy, with Jupiter in the fifth, you may be having a baby. So you need to get ready for that. So Saturn is going in the second house. The second house is the money that we make from the job that we do. So Saturn can affect your finances, right? Um, you need to save. That's one of the remedies for Saturn in the second. But you may be able to save less than what you usually can. So one of the remedies that I can offer is that you get a black wallet, a black leather wallet, and put and let me see, get a black leather wallet. Or you get on a diet. That's the other thing. That with Saturn in the second, you can actually lose weight with this one. So that would be good. And then again, you're working longer hours to make money. You also need to, with Saturn in the second, is asking you to review your expenses, to manage your budget, your credit cards, your bank account. You need to reduce your spending if you want to do all of these great things in the fifth house. Dating, go on vacation, treat your kids to something, right? That's where the challenge is. You have all of these things that you want to do that are fun, but the money is not there to do it. So you are forewarned. And lastly, Pisces. With Pisces, by Pisces, Saturn is in your first house and Jupiter is in your fourth house. Saturn in the first, you need to watch your health. You need to go for a checkup with your principal, your PCP, your primary care physician. Um, Pisces usually takes care of everybody, but they don't take care of themselves. You need to, would be a great time to start like what do you call it, a weightlifting? Um, I- like get a personal trainer so you can build muscle. In other words, do something to build muscle because Saturn helps when it's in the first house. When Saturn is in the 12th, you get on a diet. And then when Saturn goes in the first, you start building muscle. That's the way it works. All right. So Jupiter in the fourth, family is growing. Maybe you're buying another property, investing in real estate. The Saturn square, right? Maybe you're scared to do that. Maybe your fears can affect the outcome of the expansion that you want to do. Maybe you want to remodel the house and just, add a couple of rooms or add a garage or something like that, but you're kind of concerned about how things are going to work out. Um, so with Saturn here, the main concern is health. All right. So, I hope that this is clear for you guys, the way that this aspect works. Um, and I've tried to make it visual, so let me know in the comments below if you actually find this more helpful in understanding how the aspects work. And as always, I thank you for watching. If you find this video has helped you in some way, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and send it to somebody that it may also help. If you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching.